Vemma home event as a private business reception and invite people to go ahead. Now, this for me was a bit of an eye-opening experience when we came from the Go for Gold event, right? The top performers, I shared this with you guys yesterday, they focus more on sharing, hey, here's what I'm up to, here's what I'm doing. Do me a favor, for the first 1 to 2 months, the first 30 days, try out the different products first. So it's a natural indifference as opposed to chasing after them to try to go ahead and sign up for, multiple affiliate packs. Now, there are advantages to your business if you want to fast track it, if you go with an affiliate pack, or you go with, the packages with the bells and whistles, the full package. But if your customer, your lead, and especially if you're having your first home opportunity meeting, like personally for me, this is my first one in this type of industry or space, then I don't want to pressure myself and have to worry about having to sell a full room of folks to try to buy the affiliate pack. So to relieve that pressure, I'm just going to focus on, having folks try out the products first, because within that group, you're definitely going to get folks that want to get started right away. Some are going to start at an entry level, some are going to start with the full package. So definitely keep that one in mind, right? People love the personal settings. They feel privileged to be extended an invitation usually, right? They want an invite and they want their friends to participate as well. So here's what we're doing with our first home business reception, right? We're counting about 5 of our Vemma signups, our affiliates, our team members that are actually working with us. And we're asking folks and basically setting the requirement or the standard to bring 1 to 2 leads, prospects, or folks that might be a good fit for this type of business. Basically, folks who want to make an extra income on the side, right? That's not going to compete with what they're currently doing, and talk shop on an exit plan out of the rat race. Okay, so that way you have guaranteed people that's going to show up. And at the same time, you have folks that can sign up that evening and grow the business as well. So you want to make sure you take that particular head count, and I'll go through that inside of the checklist, okay? As with any event, we definitely want to help and make sure that you guys plan and prepare before your guests. So check out these following tips, right? When you invite your guests, reach out to contacts via email and phone, send them an invitation to your home event, business opportunity meeting, private business reception, or networking. Personally, for me, I've moved around and I've lived in 6 different states in the last 6 years. And so what helps me get rooted or meet local folks is to have like a little mixer networking, just meeting other entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, or folks that want to start an online or start a business. So we'll be sharing best practices. So depending on what you're comfortable with, that's what you call it. Now, I definitely recommend you schedule the event for about around 6:30 to 7 o'clock in the evening on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Based on the feedback from the top performers over at the Gold for Gold Vemma event, Tuesdays and Thursdays tend to be the easiest days for folks to go ahead and show up, and you're not competing with other major events going on in the city or wherever you're located. So it's got the highest attendance and show rate. So that's tip number 1. Schedule it for Thursdays, okay, around 6:30 to 7 o'clock in the evening, okay? Now, next point, you want to make sure you have an upline success coach to attend your event. Now, maybe you live in the middle of nowhere, okay, or you live very far, or you're one of those pioneers where you're the Vemma affiliate in that entire market. Well, that's definitely some exciting stuff, because that's a whole market you can take over and grow, right? Now, they don't have to attend your upline success coach. If they can't make it there in person, they can use tools like Skype, Uvo, and GoToWebinar, Click Webinar, or you can even just do a teleconference line, just patch them in. Either way, you want to have a successful upline coach that is there to make a cameo appearance. We were talking to John Reef yesterday. He went bronze in his very first day that he signed up with Vemma and started inviting folks like crazy. And for him, right, in his first couple of days, he was having a hard time because although he's a successful internet entrepreneur and he runs a very profitable online emailing business, right? In Vemma, he's totally new to that space, right? He doesn't have a big team. He's still looking to assemble and really grow it and make a ton of money. I mean, he has yet to receive his first check. And so he was finding it very difficult to invite folks or try to explain the business. Again, he's putting all the pressure on him. It doesn't have to be that way. You got to play it smart. And so put the pressure on an upline success coach, somebody above you who's made some money, whether a little bit of a lot, or has more experience in the business. Really, your role is just to put the butts in the seats and introduce them to, whether it be Alex Moore, Vincent Ortega, right, or any of the top leaders, and let them explain the business, because again, they bring the credibility, they bring the track record. So if they can make it in person, fantastic. You might want to book these guys out in advance. If they can't, do it online and make sure that they can attend that way. All right? So if everything's cool so far, just go ahead and type a Y inside of the chat box. I want to make sure everyone's still alive, still with me on today's session. And I'll move on to my next little tip here for everybody. Cool. All right. Next thing, right? Set a goal, right, when it comes to your guests. Set a goal. How many people do you want to show up at your home event? Okay. You can pretty much expect about a 50% ratio, right? Don't take it personally. It is during the week. Even if you book it out in advance, life gets in the way. So set the expectation that 50% of the folks will show up. The other 50% of the folks, those are folks that will show up next time. So just look at it that way. Don't get all heartbroken over it. Just keep rolling, right? So depending on the size of your venue, you want to make sure that you set a goal for the number of people you invite. You want to, invite a few more, right? If you know that only 50% are going to show up, but do confirmation calls, okay? Plan accordingly. Right? So if you want to have a minimum of 5 guests, then you have to have at least 10 guests confirm prior to the event. The more people you invite, the better chance of a bigger turnout. Okay? Now, decide if you have accommodations for people who need to bring their kids. I cannot stress this enough. Personally, for me, I don't have kids yet. Eventually, I want to have my own little soccer team going on, but for now, it's just me and my girl, right? So other folks in your area, depending on your demographic or who you invite or are inviting, they want to make it out to the event, right? But they got their kids that they're going to be picking up from school or daycare or wherever it is that they're going to be picking them up from. Again, you're setting this for about 6:30 to 7 o'clock, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so you want to make sure your accommodations, if they're kid-friendly or not, you let the people know what's up so that they can make it work on their end. Okay, I will go with what up? Everybody, that's Derek. I don't know if you guys can see Derek. You should be able to see him.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have whatever you guys are having.
You go.
That's good. The night ideally should be free from distractions, such as children, interruptions, or cell phones ringing, right? So I get a lot of questions, and especially from the affiliates that we have coming up to help support our little, home meeting. I make it sound like it's a big thing, but it's only a handful of folks, but it really is. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure it's a successful one. So you don't have to make it a suit and tie type of session, business casual, right? What you want to avoid is making it look super sloppy, way too relaxed, that it takes away from, is this really a legitimate opportunity? Are these folks that are actually building a successful business and going in the right direction? Again, keep in mind that the folks that you bring out are aspiring for a better quality of life. So you might not be in that situation right now, but you're working towards that. That's what's important. And you want the atmosphere to reflect that type of environment as well. Okay? So any questions on that? Let me recap the 3 main points here when you invite your guests. Number 1, reach out to them via phone and email, okay? Make sure that they actually go ahead and confirm prior to the event or your little session, okay? Second, make sure you have an upline success coach, whether they dial in online via teleconference or they show up live in person, okay? Third, you want to set a goal for how many people will show up. Expect there to be a 50% turnout, so plan and get your confirmations aligned with that goal so that you can make sure, hey, we have the best possible turnout. All right. Last but not the least, with regards to the atmosphere, keep it business casual. You want to avoid a lot of distractions so that you can focus on the flip book, you can focus on the TV screen, or whatever channel you're going to use to deliver. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how to invite folks. Just a show of hands, or just curious with the folks that we have on here, how many of you guys have actually started to invite folks or have held your own little business opportunity meeting, little networking, or home presentation? Anybody here in the room have one yet? I see some new faces. I see some regular ones. Bryce, looks like you might have had one or tried to, right? Boom. Chili Falls, not yet. All right, cool. So I'll touch a little bit about, how to invite your leads, your prospects, how to invite these folks out. Okay. Here are a couple things you can say. Hey, this is Gil, right? I understand you're a good friend of, let's say, Derek. Okay. If you recall, we spoke about a week ago. Okay. So ideally, these are folks that you've invited, talked to, or you're having somebody bring them to the table, right? Is this a convenient time to talk? Okay. What are you doing Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. or in our case, Thursday evening at 7 p.m., right? We've scheduled a private home event. We've scheduled a little mixer. We've scheduled a networking, a little entrepreneurship night, whatever you want to call it, right? And are inviting a few key people who we like, trust, and respect, okay? Do me a favor. Will you be able to make it out on that day? Or I want your feedback and opinion. Can I count on you to show up? Right? You put that person in the position where, hey, it's almost like a life and death situation. This is not a test. Something's about to happen. Can they trust you? Right? On your end, you kind of get to see who's active in the game, who really is a good leader, prospect, a person that's a great fit for this business, because not everybody is. And that's probably most likely due to a timing issue, or it's the way it was brought or introduced to them, or whatever, right? I was talking to John the other day, and that was another interesting thing that popped up just in his first few days in the business, is that quite a few number of the folks he thought would make a great fit for the business. It turns out, you know what, they're too busy, or they had the most number of technical questions about the business or the compensation plan, or were flat out just skeptical, right? So in order for you to find out who among your list, who among your immediate network and folks or contacts would be a great fit, this is a nice way to kind of filter and go through it and move the folks that are really a good fit that you've invited and kind of gauge to see where they're at. And the folks that aren't quite ready, again, re-loop them at a later time and date, or you can focus on building up new leads, making new connections, whether you do it online or you do it the belly-to-belly approach, okay? If something comes up, please call me ASAP so I can fill your seat. So you continue with the indifference portion of the conversation, right? Can I count on you to be there? I like, know, and trust you. Your opinion does matter to me. But if you cannot make it, let me know so I can fill your seat ASAP. It continues with the indifference, right? There's a natural, what do you call that, scarcity, and there is, right? Unless you have like a warehouse for a venue, there's only so many people you can pack at a location to keep the quality at a nice level where you can interact with everyone, that the presentation can be heard and understood, or you can actually communicate effectively with all the folks, and not have it where the ratios are way too high and you get overwhelmed by the actual crowd. Okay, now I totally understand, but before I go, may I ask you one question? Okay, may I ask you one question? And this is really key so that you can connect with the lead, right? I've talking to the folks in the belly-to-belly scene from the Vemma Go for Gold event, which, by the way, if you haven't already gotten your tickets for convention out in June, go ahead and do so, because the networking, the tips, the feedback are absolutely amazing and crucial to you growing and taking your business to the next level, okay? Now, most folks make the mistake of just inviting folks left and right off the bat. They miss out on that personal connection or trust. The part where you say, I've invited you, or I want your feedback and opinion, okay, and you are somebody that I trust, your opinion is important to me, and whether you like them or not, right? When you ask this question, I understand, but before I go, may I ask you one question? If you could improve any aspect of your financial situation, what would that be? Okay, what would that be? Right there, you skip all the BS, all the crap, the whole sales pitch. You go right into what's most important to them. And this is another telltale sign if this person is ready to get out of the situation that they're in, if they are genuinely interested in improving their lives or just even taking baby steps in the right direction so that they can start to make the money they want, live the lifestyle that they want, and have the time freedom that they seek, right? Because in my experience, the folks that already have thought about what they want and what they need to fix, what matters most important to them. If you ask this question and the person's like, I don't know, never really thought about that, right? Or, oh no, never thought about that, I'm too busy. Or, you know what, my life's perfect. That way, again, you know who to chase after, who to follow up with, and who to let go by the wayside and go back later on, okay? You can start to filter and qualify your leads that way, and you don't burn out the personal relationships and friendships that you actually have around you. Okay. Another really cool question that I got, and this one was from a speaker, Dan, from the Go for Gold event. He simply asks them, okay, are you open to a business opportunity? Are you open to starting a project that would provide supplementary income and the possibility of retiring you from whatever it is you're currently stuck or doing right now? Right? And again, you don't become that guy or that girl that's constantly chasing down folks that aren't a good fit or just need a little bit of time, right? So if this makes sense, go ahead and type a Y. That way I know where we're at. If you have any clarifications, if you need me to go through a couple of those tips, let me know, and I'll go ahead and move on here. Cool. Yeah, and that's a really good point too, right? Like, for me, I mean, if you don't have any friends or connections in the area, again, you don't want to, create this image that you're that type of person. You're you're too aggressive with the wrong folks. That's one way for you to, not create the wrong image or the wrong picture. Okay. All right, now somebody here's typing here on the side chat, when do you confirm? I recommend doing it about 1 to 3 days before the actual event. Again, the week can get hectic, something could pop up, so 1 to 3 days prior to the event. Let folks know if there's any changes, let me know so I can fill your seat. Okay, I've got quite a few folks I have to call on, and for them, they don't need to know whether that's 1 or 100 people, right? Use those particular transition lines and statements. Call or leave a message with a friendly reminder that you're looking forward to meeting them at your Vemma home event on date and time. Now, some of us are inviting people to this event, like I mentioned earlier, as a little networking mixer for entrepreneurs or people that want to get started with an online business. We have other folks like Jeremy, and they're using it as a Vemma home event. That's exact lines they're using, right? So we're going to kind of test to see which resonates better, or which would get us the best results. Okay, setting up the actual home event. All right, keep it simple. Let's move forward here. Pick a location you feel comfortable and will accommodate the number of guests attending. You can use your living room, a home office, or a clubhouse. Remember to tidy up the location and spot if necessary. For my little networking or mixers or opportunity meetings, I've used restaurants. I try to find out what their slowest time and dates are during the week and weekend, and that's the slots that I'll go ahead and fill up for them, and they're open to that. In fact, sometimes, they provide discounts, they happy hour special just for you guys. Again, it's their slow time, so you're bringing them more business. You could use a living room, right? Millions have been made out of the living room, and so why change that strategy? If that's what you have access to, go ahead and use it. If the house is not exactly, guest friendly, find somewhere else that you can hold it in. Clubhouses, some of these places you can rent out. Some of them you may know somebody that lives in an apartment complex, and they can go ahead and you share and use their actual clubhouse. For our first little session, we're using a private area of the clubhouse with couches, TV, a little fridge, and it probably will hold about 20 to 25 people. So that's what we're working with. Set up early, arrange seating, and set up slightly less number of guests than expected. Okay, so basically you want to have less chairs out there. You can always pull out more chairs. You kind of create this effect of like, hey, we're overflowing right now, but I'm definitely going to accommodate you, and that's when you bust out the extra chairs, right? What type of music? Somebody asked earlier, you know, in terms of atmosphere. Play some low, pleasant music. Okay, have a little Febreze candle going on, that way it keeps it fresh. And once the actual presentation begins, turn back, turn the music down low, and you can increase it afterwards once the presentation is over, or you go through the Q&A session. All right, or even contemplating, hey, we might just play the 24/7 Career Source video and see how that plays out for the session. So we're kind of going back and forth on seeing what we're going to do, what approach we're going to take. Jeremy wants to use the flip book, and I think that's even, you know, whether we use a video or the flip book, either way, you want to use materials that demonstrate that anybody can do this, okay? In fact, that's more effective than being like a super polished speaker, because you want your crowd, you want your leads, you want your prospects to walk away or to get the impression that anybody can do this. Anybody can flip through a paper flip book and read the content on there. Anybody can hit next on a PowerPoint presentation provided by Vemma Corporate, which works great, right? Anybody can hit play. And so it's that type of convenience and ease, right, that your prospects, that your leads need to see, so that there's less barriers to entry and you can move them forward in the process. All right, let's see what else here. Somebody hit me up on side chat. Are you guys planning to have products? Great question. That's actually the next tip that I was going to kind of go over. You want to have some products that people can sample. Right? Now, a nice way to approach this is have little shot glasses out where you can fill those and they can sample different Verve products, right? We're not exactly, you know, keen on handing out full cans because, one, you're not sure if the person's going to like that flavor. He's going to want to try a variety. And two, you maximize whatever inventory you have. Instead of just one can for one person who may or may not like the flavor or the taste, now you can have one can, which is good for multiple guests at your private business reception, right? In the Vemma affiliate pack, or if you order the essential vitamins, minerals, the 2 big bottles, they actually come with shot glasses, right? It's got a nice little Vemma logo on there, so you could also use those or prepare some other shot glasses and samples. I think Jeremy's wife is going to check out, you know, how much these little shot glasses go for, because you can also get them for super cheap, right? And at bulk pricing. So definitely have some samples on hand. You also want to have order forms ready for people, okay, to supply their information on the spot if you're ready to get started, so that you can also follow up with those folks and you can let them know if you want to reserve your spot. For me, placement strategy is very important, right? So you can use those different transition lines. We'll talk about that in a different session, but you want to have order forms ready. Okay, just a handful set aside. You can keep them on the table so that it's not too in your face. It's not a hard sales closing tactic. Again, this is our first one, so we're not looking to come out guns blazing or anything like that. And we don't want that type of pressure. Our goal is to have our affiliates show up so we can meet the ones that are in our local neighborhood. And we're also going to have some training on there. So that leads me to my next little point and tip. When you have affiliates in Vemma in your area, or folks that you've already signed up, they may not be on your team, or if you don't have any, find folks that are. You can get these folks to show up by offering some sort of training and open Q&A session for them, okay? That way they are encouraged to show up, and they bring a lead and prospect as well, because right after the session you can roll into training. That's something that Chris, Jeremy, and I spotted immediately at the Vemma Go for Gold session. Every business opportunity meeting they had at corporate or online, it automatically rolls into some sort of fast start, new start type of training session, so that the attendance is good for existing affiliates and you get a good show up rate in terms of your attendance as well. Okay. So last but just a few more things before we jump off here today. Make sure you have fun. Okay, even if guests are running late, start your meeting at the scheduled time and cater to the guests that arrive on time. It's a certain level of professionalism. The folks that are there feel special. They know that this is about them and that you're the person that does start on time. You may delay a little bit, but you want to focus on the folks that are there. When you introduce yourself, welcome your guests and briefly describe the purpose of the get-together. This is an opportunity for you to meet other online entrepreneurs, other successful marketers and business owners. We want to be able to share best practices, also to share what's been working for us lately and what project we're going to be focusing on here in the year, right? Last time we spoke, you were interested in, an additional part-time income, or you were interested in the health and industry space, you were interested in losing weight. When you ask that question, if there's one thing you can change about your life, what would that be? That's where you will use that information in the welcome when you introduce them. Again, it triggers that whole little personal touch that you remembered. From the phone call to when they show up, they know that you actually care. So by the time you do talk shop and business, a lot of the objections walls are much lower, okay? When you introduce the speaker of the evening, your upline success coach, let him or her lead the presentation to help your guests make a well-informed decision to be a part of your Vemma team. When I was talking to John here at Chris's house, we were talking about the event and inviting folks out. And at first we were really nervous. Again, like, hey, what are we going to do? It's not like we're masters at this game, right? The whole belly-to-belly approach or business presentation. But in the end, when we kind of, again, pre-framed it or put it into perspective, all we're doing is putting the butts in the seats. Get a regular affiliates there, have folks that are interested or possibly would make a good fit for the business show up, and we're going to let Jeremy do the talking, we're going to let the video do the talking, we're going to let the upline success coach do the presentation. Focus on that so you're not freaking yourself out with stuff that you're not going to be doing again on that night anyway, okay? Now, after your Vemma home event, okay, after your home event, be available at the end of the evening to answer questions from individual guests, or have your upline success coach or somebody else experience who can handle those questions. You always want to show people, especially the brand new ones, that you defer to third-party verification and proof. That way it's duplicable and there's less pressure on you. Make sure you listen, listen, listen. Take product orders and set up auto delivery orders, whether they're a first-time customer, they're trying stuff out, or if they're absolutely all in and want to go with the big package. Again, you might want to pump their brakes a little bit so you show indifference, you show you actually care, and you are only interested in working with the right folks. Make sure you hand out the Vemma action plan to the brand new partners. And last but not least, follow up, lead by example, and duplicate. Help the new brand new partners schedule their own Vemma home event. And like in our case with this particular clubhouse, first one was great. We can go ahead and roll it into like a monthly session or every 2 to 3 weeks, depending. Jeremy's so hyped up, excited about this belly-to-belly approach that, we want to be able to get it into a daily session. Even if we have just a few more folks coming in on a daily basis, that would be a huge win. So if you guys are in the Providence area, if you're in Boston or anywhere in New England and you guys want to tap into this particular area, make sure you reach out to myself, Chris, or Jeremy so that we can count you into the head count. We can have seats ready for your folks, and we can all maximize the venue and what we have going on, right? On the East Coast, it's like the market is prime for the taking. So keep that one in mind as well. So it's a nice little way to build momentum. And eventually we want to be able to get these up, where we can start filling up hotel rooms with hundreds of people, right? So we're going to continue to apply our online strategies. We're going to include the belly-to-belly approach because it does work. And there's stuff that, even in the belly-to-belly concepts and principles, that you can apply to your online marketing, okay? We'll be going over squeeze page. Is that on today's? Is that on training?
If you want to. You want all that.
Probably not right now though.
All right. Let's do it tomorrow.
Cool. All right. So, any other questions, folks? Clarifications, violent reactions? Go ahead and type it in the chat box. I am looking at the chat right now, so just in case anything.
Violent reactions.
Yeah, throw that one out there. All right. So. First session for us is going to be on April the 9th, Thursday. That's 7 o'clock in the evening. Hopefully you guys do the same, or even just make the attempt, and that way you get the ball rolling, or find other events that you can tap to in your particular areas. We're going to start posting these replays inside of the Facebook group so that you guys can access them, check them out at a later time and date. And if there's a question that you need help with, need to ask, leave it in the comments section or have somebody in the group ask it for you and catch the replay so that you can see what our take is on it, or make sure you can catch the response. We do hold these sessions Monday to Friday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We're looking at other time slots that are convenient for more folks to be able to participate so we can help the overall growth of the organization, right? So you have suggestions for time slots, let us know. Leave that in the comments as well. Either way, we're definitely excited for this, so hopefully you guys roll out the same. Gina, how are you getting these belly-to-belly prospects? Are they through postcards or what? Great question. We're doing 3 things. Number 1, we're actually just inviting affiliates that we've signed up in the local area, or we're finding other Vemma affiliates who are in the area that would be interested in tapping in. So we have that mix of affiliates that are with Vemma. They can bring prospects and bodies so we can build momentum. The second thing that we're doing is we're actually going to do flyers as well. So we're testing out some flyers. Jeremy talked to us about this yesterday and over the last week, where we're looking at different type of copy, what's more effective, and how we can continue to use these tickets even into larger venues. So that's the second thing we're doing. And third, we're doing a little bit of some online stuff as well. Now, we're still testing those, not quite sure how it's going to play out quite yet, but as soon as we have some results, we'll definitely let you know, right? But that's how we are doing it. So 3 ways. Anybody else with any questions, clarifications? Cool. All-time record high today in terms of the noon sessions, which is awesome, right? Yes, drop cards can definitely come into play. Definitely come into play. Gina, I'll share some stuff with you offline, on some sidebar and some side chat. You're one of the folks that's a little bit more on the advanced side, or you actually implement some of these strategies. So I will let you know some of the other little things that we are testing out, which I know you can immediately replicate and duplicate there in your areas. I'm also going to be sharing some tips on what groups you can seek out in your local market, where you literally have, like, I mean, if you're looking for prospects for a home business or a business that you're growing, I mean, they're just like fish in a barrel just sitting there. I've done this in different markets and different industries. We want to be able to roll it out, duplicate it, confirm that it works so we can share it with you guys. But for the folks that, like Gina, I'll reach out to you on side chat, let you know so you can start to test these out as well. It's not something, you don't have to hold it yourself. Okay, you may be able to tap into existing stuff going on locally in your area. These are nice untapped niches that you can get into. What is your full name on Facebook? If you guys want to add me on Facebook, all you have to do is go to www.fbgill.com, and that will take you to my Facebook page. I'm missing an M in there. So you can go ahead and add me. And if I can go ahead and type the actual Facebook link as well, if that doesn't work for you, or you can go ahead and add me as a contact. These replays are going to go onto a YouTube channel. Do us a solid if you can go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Leave us comments, engage, let us know what you need so that we can continue to provide content that is relevant to growing your businesses. You know, stuff like where, like Heather reached out to us, hey, what can we work with? What resources does she have available? What's the best way for her to grow her business and see results in the next week? And poof. Right, 3 sales, auto sales via the funnel. So that's the kind of interaction that we want to be able to have with you folks. So go ahead and check this out. Cool, Bryce. Other than that, guys, thank you for joining us here on a Wednesday noon. If you're on the West Coast, big good morning to you guys. Do leave comments in the Facebook group once I do post this on there, and I'll catch you on the next session. Again, we do these Monday through Thursdays. We provide open support for the overall Supercharged network, anybody in the Vemma teams that we can help grow, and most especially for our members over at Clicks Gone Wild. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.